on project 4. It's called How to Say It, and his objectives are: select the right words and sentence structure to communicate your ideas vividly and clearly. Use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas. Eliminate jargon and unnecessary words and use correct grammar. His speaking time is from 5 to 7 minutes.
Darren is here to practice for a presentation for his natural resource class. So imagine that this is now his classroom and anxious to learn, and you are anxious to learn what he has prepared. Darren Roach, Biodiversity Hotspots in the Horn of Africa. Biodiversity Hotspots in the Horn of Africa, Mr. Darren Roach.
Toastmasters, guests. Biodiversity hotspot is a biogeographic region that is a significant reservoir of biodiversity and is threatened with destruction. These hotspots hold especially high numbers of endemic species, which are species that are found only there or rarely anywhere else around the planet. The red spots shown up here on the screen shows all the biodiversity hotspots in our planet. Right now there are 43 hotspots. My research is on the Horn of Africa. Horn of Africa is sometimes referred to as the Somalian Peninsula. The countries that make up the hotspots are most of Somalia, Djibouti, and parts of Eritrea, part of Kenya, and part of Ethiopia. And some of the surrounding body waters are the Indian Ocean, Gulf of Aden, and the Red Sea. The Horn of Africa is one of only 2 hotspots that is entirely arid, with the other being located in southwestern Africa. The Horn of Africa's hotspot landmass consists of 1.7 million square kilometers. So the 3 major threats we got going are overgrazing, harvesting of charcoal, and unstable government. First, overgrazing. Right now, in the Horn of Africa, there's only 5% of the original habitat left. Overgrazing is a big problem right now. You can see from the pictures here, there's 2 types of gazelles. On the left, you got the Soemmerring, and on the right side, you got a Dibitag gazelle. Now, the one thing we need to do is animal control, like population control on that. Because if you don't control the population, they'll pretty much eat up everything and all either go extinct or move on to other regions. So population control, like downsize them, would help preserve the terrain out there. Another big threat, harvesting of charcoal. Forests are being destroyed from this. The locals there are cutting down trees, burning them, making them into charcoal. They're selling them to surrounding countries around there. It is perhaps the biggest form of income that the Horn of Africa is producing. The last, third major threat to biodiversity down there is unstable government. Countries like Somalia and Ethiopia are at war. You got violence, you got rebels, you got pirates on the waters there, corrupt government that are doing whatever. So my conclusion to this is fixing the environmental threats. Controlling the population of animals, like I said earlier, would be perhaps the best way to help preserving the terrain out there. Like I said, if we control a small portion of the animals, instead of having them override everything, eating all the terrain out there, we should be able to preserve some of that. And like I said, stop the destruction of forest and harvesting to produce charcoal. Maybe other forms of income they do down there is like sell coffee beans, bananas, and other agricultural. If they can learn to a way to farm more of that instead of harvesting the forest and destroying it would be a good thing. And lastly, probably one of the most hardest things actually of all three of these to do would be stable government. They can somehow produce and form a solid infrastructure and get rid of the corruption out of there and push out the rebels and the pirates and all that. That would be probably the best way, the hardest way, but probably starting with having a stable government would probably help all three actually aspects, and that's pretty much it. I'm done.